You ever wake up and know before you even brush your teeth that the universe is about to test you? That was me, except instead of a random Monday, I opened my front door, looked at my shiny black Porsche, and thought, well, this is going to be a long day. 4 tires slashed, windshield ruined, paint smeared all over it, and taped under the wiper, some copy and paste threat typed in all caps with a local HOA logo in the corner. That's the welcome I got in Westridge. You know what I mean? Most folks move to the suburbs for quiet, for safety. Me? I needed somewhere I could disappear at least. That's what I thought I was getting. But out here, turns out the danger wears a neighborly smile and a reflective vest, not a ski mask. When I first rolled into Westridge, it was like stepping onto a movie set. Perfect hedges, white fences, kids on bikes, golden retrievers wagging their tails like they just won the lottery. I could smell barbecue drifting over from 3 houses down, and people wave from their porches like we'd all grown up together. It looked peaceful, like some welcome home commercial, except when you really looked, there were eyes everywhere. Folks peeked through blinds, paused their lawnmowers just long enough to size me up, especially the man across the street. Curtains twitched, smiles were polite but stretched thin. My Porsche idled at the curb, black as midnight and twice as loud as anything on this street. I know it made a statement. I wasn't here to blend in. That was never the point. See, I'm not some retiree looking for peace and quiet. I'm a U.S. Marshal, still active, working undercover on cases that don't make the news, but keep people safe whether they know it or not. To do my job, I need routine, predictability. Westridge offered that, at least on the surface. But if you've been in the field as long as I have, you know evil loves a well-manicured lawn. I could already see the patterns, the way neighbors watched, the way silence stretched just a little too long at the mailbox, the way certain houses had extra cameras pointed at the street. Patterns always give people away. So, 3 days in, I'm still unpacking boxes when I find that first note on my windshield. Parking violation. Final warning. No signature, just the HOA Eagle logo in the corner. The paper looked official, but the tone? Not so much. More like, we're watching you. So I did what I do best. I checked the HOA handbook, scrolled through 63 pages of mind-numbing rules, and found nothing about homeowners parking their own car on the street. RVs, commercial trucks, sure. Not Porsches. Someone was making up their own rules. It wasn't about the car. It was about control. You know that feeling when you realize someone's not just trying to enforce the realist theory testing you? Whoever left that note had timed it perfectly. Early enough to be discreet, late enough to make sure I found it. It was a probe, nothing more. Most people would have backed down, parked in the driveway, let slide. Not me. I'm trained to log everything: photos, dates, even the way the paper curled from a dew. I started a filance in day 3. Because in my world, escalation always leaves a trail. 2 days later, 3 men showed up wearing navy blue vests with HOA enforcement, iron on like they bought it off a costume site. No badges, just a heavy black phone holster like a weapon, mirrored sunglasses, and a tattoo of an eagle crawling up a thick neck. They stopped at every other house, peered over fences, tapped on a cheap tablet. It was intimidation dressed up, but see-through as cheap curtains. One circled my Porsche, said, "Not a car show, buddy," loud enough for the block to hear. Didn't look at the house, didn't need to. It was a message. That's when I started digging deeper: HOA directories, board meeting notes, complaint logs. Turns out, nothing in the official rules about these guys. No authority, no oversight, just a pattern. Intimidation, fake violations, and plenty of scared neighbors who kept their heads down. These men weren't officers. They were self-appointed enforcers, just like I'd seen in rougher places, only this time the weapon was a clipboard instead of a gun. And then came the real escalation: tires slashed, paint on the windshield, another note. You were warned. That's when I stopped being a neighbor and started being a marshal again. I logged it all, cross-referenced the time, remembered a dark green pickup idling at the corner the night before. Still no fear, just focus. The more they tried to break me, the clearer the lines got. So I did what they never expected. I went on the offensive. Pulled up law enforcement databases, ran facial recognition on the doorbell footage neighbors shared. Turns out, The ringleader Randall Bishop was a convicted felon with a history of intimidation and pretending to be a cop. His muscle, Joey Manners, got fired from private security for excessive force. The third guy? A nobody, but just as eager to play dress-up and bark orders. You want a twist? Here's one. I wasn't the first they'd gone after. A woman named Marlene, single mom 2 streets over, filed complaints months ago. They threatened her too. Nothing ever came of it because everyone assumed she was exaggerating. That's what fear does. It keeps you isolated, makes you doubt yourself. I reached out, found more neighbors with the same story, same fake tickets, same threats. So I built my case, gathered evidence, made calls to local police and the U.S. Marshal Service, filed a report sealed, but with everything they'd need. The plan came together fast. 48 hours later, just before sunrise, a joint task force showed up, quiet and hard feds, locals, everyone briefed and ready. They raided Bishop's place, found illegal firearms, folders full of phony citations, and uniforms they'd stitched themselves. Cameras rolled. Neighbors peeked out from behind blinds. Some even cried. For the first time in a year, Westridge felt real, like a place where law actually mattered. After the arrests, the neighborhood transformed almost overnight. The fake patrols vanished. No more warning notes. No more inspections. Folks started talking, swapping stories at the mailbox. The fear that used to hang in the air got replaced by something close to relief. At the next HOA meeting, the hall was packed. I stood up, introduced myself as a federal marshal, told them I wasn't here to boss anybody around, but if anyone tried to play cop again, I'd be there. That was it. The applause wasn't loud, but it was real. You could see the shift. People straightened up, offered handshakes, started treating each other like neighbors again. Randall Bishop got 18 months behind bars, plus supervised release. Joey Manners got off lighter community service, a record that'll follow him wherever he tries to play tough guy next. But the real win wasn't the sentences. It was seeing people walk their dogs past my house without looking over their shoulders, kids back on bikes, women like Marlene standing a little taller. The illusion of power was gone, and with it, the hold those men had on Westridge. Here's what I learned: real authority doesn't need a vest or a badge you bought online. You can try to scare people with threats, with fake rules, but in the end, the truth catches up. I never wanted a spotlight, never cared if anyone knew my title. I just knew where to draw the line. And once justice comes to your street, real justice site doesn't knock politely. It kicks in the door and leaves you with a choice: be brave or stay silent. So what would you have done? Let me know, because sometimes it's the quietest neighbor who ends up keeping everyone safe.